What if I told you the secret to an amazing life is the exact opposite of what everyone tells you to do? What if winning at life meant flipping the rule book completely upside down? Now, 2,000 years ago, on a dusty hill, a carpenter named Jesus dropped a teaching that we now call the Sermon on the Mount. And it begins with the 8 most profound, most challenging ideas that you've ever heard. They're called the Beatitudes. Now, these radical teachings are about to turn your world upside down. In this video, we'll break down every single one of the Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5. We're going to see what they meant back then, and I promise you by the end of this video, you'll have a treasure map to change your life right now. These Beatitudes are not just ancient teachings, they serve as a roadmap to a transformed and joyful life. So let's dive in. Matthew chapter 5. First, picture this insane scene. Jesus isn't in a palace or a grand cathedral. He's on a hill talking to a massive crowd of normal people. We're talking fishermen, farmers, people who were completely stressed out and living under the brutal Roman rule. They were people with literally zero power. And the first word that he drops on them is makarios. Now, we translate it as blessed, but it means so much more than just being happy. It describes a deep, unshakable joy that comes from God and is not dependent on your circumstances. So when Jesus starts listing who is truly blessed, he's making a radical, completely countercultural statement. He's flipping the world's value system on its head and saying that the very people that society ignores, well, those are the ones at the center, the VIP of his new kingdom. It's the craziest plot twist ever. That brings us to the first and most foundational beatitude. As stated in Matthew 5:3, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And no, this isn't about being broke. It's about your attitude. Being poor in spirit means that you finally admit that you don't have all the answers and that you can't do it alone. It's like trying to fill a cup that's already full. It's impossible. You have to empty your cup of pride and self-sufficiency before you can get the incredible gifts that God wants to give you. This spiritual poverty, or acknowledging our complete dependence on God, is a state of humility and openness to receive his blessings. Now, in a world that screams do it yourself, this is the most insane first step. It means admitting that you depend on God for everything. Now, this is the only entry fee into God's kingdom because you can't receive anything if your hands are already full. As C.S. Lewis put it, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. This spiritual poverty is the only way into God's kingdom because until you recognize your need, we can't receive the gifts that he wants to give us. Now, from that place of humility, Jesus makes his second declaration in verse 4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Now, this isn't just about grieving a personal loss, though that is part of it. It's about having a heart that breaks for the same things that breaks God's heart. It's when you look at the world and genuinely grieve over the injustice, the pain, the brokenness that you see. It's a holy kind of sadness. Now, in our age of non-stop distractions, it's so easy to become numb. This beatitude is a call to keep our hearts soft. It's about letting ourselves feel the weight of suffering, both in our own lives and in the lives of others, not with despair, but with a deep longing for God's comfort and healing. That grief is the fertile soil where God's comfort can finally take root. The promise is that anyone who dares to mourn will ultimately be comforted by God himself. Up next is one of the most misunderstood of the Beatitudes in verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Now, meek does not mean weak. It's not about being a doormat. The original word, praus, was used for a stallion that had been tamed. The horse still had all its insane power, but now it's entirely controlled by a master. Meekness in the context of the Beatitudes is about having strength and power, but choosing to use it in a controlled and gentle manner, guided by God's will. So meekness is having insane strength that you've handed over to God. It's choosing to trust God instead of forcing your own way. Now, you have the power to destroy someone, but you decide to be gentle. Today, this is refusing to get into useless internet arguments. It's having a quiet confidence that is stronger than being the loudest person in the room. And the prize, well, you inherit the entire earth. So if you're humble, heartbroken for the world, and have your strength under control, what's your mission? Well, verse 6 gives you the answer. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Now, this isn't a small appetite. This is a desperate, starving, deep craving. It's a spiritual magnet that pulls you toward doing the right thing with such a force that you literally can't stop. You become obsessed with seeing God's goodness and justice in your life and in the entire world. Hungering and thirsting for righteousness is described in the Beatitudes. Well, it's about having a strong and a relentless desire to see justice and goodness prevail and being actively involved in making it happen. And this isn't just a passive wish. You must stand up for those that can't defend themselves and live with complete integrity. And Jesus makes this craziest promise that if you are hungry for what is right, you will be completely filled. But wanting justice isn't enough. You have to balance it with challenge number 5 from verse number 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Now, mercy is compassion with action. It's recognizing a problem and actually taking action about it. It's also canceling a punishment someone totally deserves. So imagine God forgave you $1 million debt. Being merciful is choosing not to get mad at your friend who still owes you $20. It challenges everything. We must show others the same incredible mercy that God shows us. In a world that wants revenge for everything, this is a revolution. It means forgiving someone even if they don't apologize. And check this out. The more mercy you give, the more mercy you get. It's an infinite mercy loop. From your actions, Jesus goes straight to your inner thoughts in verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Now, being pure in heart isn't about being perfect. No one is perfect. It's about having a heart with one goal. Think of your heart as a window. A pure heart is a spotless window that lets you see God and lets His light shine through you. Things like selfishness and desire for praise are dirt that makes the window impossible to see through. Today, many people are pretending to be someone that they're not online. This beatitude is a challenge to be 100% authentic. Clarify your motive so that your sole goal is to please God. And the reward is unbelievable. You will literally see God. You'll see Him working everywhere, and one day you'll see Him face to face. When your heart is pure, your actions will naturally lead to peace. Verse 9 says, Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Now listen closely. He doesn't say peacekeepers. Anyone can avoid a fight. A peacemaker is like a firefighter who runs into a burning building to put out the fire and to rebuild. They dive headfirst into chaos, bringing people together. This is extremely hard and messy, but when you do it, you are doing precisely what God did when He sent Jesus. That's why peacemakers are called children of God, because they're showing the family resemblance. And this all leads to the final and most shocking blessing of all in verses 10 through 12. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when others revile and persecute you for my sake. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. This is what happens when you do the other 7 challenges. If you try to swim against a huge current, you feel resistance. It's guaranteed. But if you live a life of humility, mercy, and peacemaking, you are swimming against the current of the entire world. Persecution is that resistance. Jesus is telling you straight up that following Him will cost you something. But He completely flips what persecution means. It isn't a sign that you failed. It's proof that you're on the winning team. He says, don't just endure it, rejoice in it, because your reward in heaven is going to be absolutely massive. So you see, these aren't just random nice ideas. They are a step-by-step masterclass for a transformed life. It starts with admitting you need God, poor in spirit, which leads to caring about the world, mourning, which builds control, strength, meekness, which creates a hunger for justice, hunger and thirst, which you balance with radical mercy, which comes from a pure heart, which makes you a peacemaker, and finally makes you strong enough to face anything, even persecution. It's the ultimate escape from anxiety, the noise, and the drama of our world, into a life with real, lasting purpose. They are the roadmap to the deep, unshakable joy, the makarios that Jesus promises. So I have a challenge for you. Which one of these Beatitudes is the biggest challenge for you this week? Is it being poor in spirit, giving up control? Is it being radical in your mercy? Or are you ready to be a peacemaker and run into the chaos? I want every single person watching to comment below right now and tell me which challenge that you're going to take on this week. I read every comment, and I want to pray for you as you tackle it. Now, if this message helped you, please do 2 things. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next video, and share this video with just one friend who needs to hear this message of hope. Now, go out there, find that true, deep, lasting blessedness that Jesus promises. Have a great day.